Holy moly, happy Monday.
What a crazy weekend it was.
Yeah, and a beautiful weekend. I
It was.
mean, it was really, really nice.
We did not have many days like that this spring where it was nice and warm, but also not too humid. In summer the humidity picks up and it's a little bit less tolerable. But yeah, it was absolutely great. So Josh, I got before we even get into the news of the day, before we
Yeah.
talk about anything else, I should have got permission to use her name, so I won't use her name. But a regular viewer of ours who watches all the time, and I see her like and comment. She just got under contract in another 2-unit building, using mostly seller financing. I think that's absolutely awesome. It
Phenomenal.
just is very rewarding, Josh, to what we're doing here with this great content that we're pushing out because she specifically mentioned how great our show is and how helpful it's been. I'm a full-time real estate investor myself. I
Yep.
am a full-time executive in a property management company. I do not have, plus I'm a dad of 4 kids, and Lord knows that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
I do not have time to coach as many people as I want to.
Yeah.
And I've never been able to like give it the value to charge for that it would be worth my time. And I've never been able to figure that out and play with that enough to actually get into the coaching arena. This show has been a way that we've been able to deliver and develop and produce great content for people that's been real, that hasn't been bullshit, that's been actionable content that is
Yep.
actually making a difference for people. And I feel really good about that.
I feel great about it too. And you know what? I haven't always shared with you a lot of the comments and a lot of the conversations that I've had with some of our viewers. I mean, on the hard money end, just all right. So let's take 2 steps back. First of all, welcome to the Build and Grow with Real
Welcome
Estate,
to the show today, everybody.
Real Estate Hackers program. My name's Josh Weidman. I am a hard money lender with Hard Money Bankers. We fund real estate projects for real estate investors in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Northern Virginia, and DC. So if you got a project that's coming up that you'd like to have funded, give me a call. We are a direct lender, which means that we are going to be able to underwrite your deal same day that you contact us. We'll be able to give you an approval. And within, once we have all the information, title is clear, we can close within 24 hours. So that's me. I've been investing in real estate for the last, 13 years, 14 years. And done everything from wholesaling, flipping houses, owned a property management company, did a lot of different things. And right now I've been talking to our people that are watching our show about hard money. And it's been really interesting because I've talked to a number of people that are new investors that are contacting me about, hey, what do you think of this property? What do you think of that property? People that they've thought about it before, but they never really did anything. And all of a sudden they're throwing addresses at me. I mean, I think that's phenomenal that getting from, hey, sitting around doing nothing to going out and taking action is a big deal. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. But before we do, tell us a little bit about you, Judah, if you will.
Yeah, so my name is Judah Hoover, and I am an executive in a property management company called Slate House Group. We are a full-service real estate company. So if you are looking to buy or sell, it doesn't have to be investment properties, residential properties as well. You want to find your next forever home, give me a shout, and we can help you with that. We are a modern real estate company. I love coaching people. I love helping people. So that's my cell phone. Don't call me after midnight or during church on Sunday mornings. But as long as you call some other time other than that, or you can text me there, I will usually answer. And I just love talking about real estate.
Awesome. So, I think it's amazing that, look, we're in a beautiful time of year. It's easy to be thrilled and happy about real estate investing right now because we've got a really hot market. There's a lot of positive information coming out. There's a lot of not so positive stuff happening in our economy, but you know what? I think that's going to work its way out. I mean,
I'm seeing a lot of conflicting reports on that. So a good friend of mine had put a house up for sale like just as we were coming into COVID shutdown. And so it was on the market, but like, let's call it not active for a while. And he had no activity. Then he had 25 showings, 5 offers, some of them overpriced, ended up getting the property under contract for 15,000 over asking.
That's
And
awesome.
this is not a $50,000 row home. You know what I mean? Like $15,000 is a nice little chunk on
Yeah.
top of where he was.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that right now, like, well, as we go through this show, one of the things that we really want to promote here is the idea of taking activity there, regardless of how the real estate market is going. It's just like the stock market. There's money to be made in real estate, whether you are investing in long term. You know, if you say, hey, look, the market's going down, it's got a downward trajectory. How the heck do I make money doing this? I can't. I mean, that's a time that I've been waiting for, actively waiting for the last 3 years for the market to go down. I mean, because that's a great time to buy rental properties. When things are up, like they have been for what, 10 years, 8 years? Yeah. As they go up, it's a great time to flip properties. It's a great time to strategically buy and hold where you can hit the BRRRR method really well. It's a great time to wholesale and flip contracts. And so depending on where we are in the real estate cycle, just like in the stock market, there's a time to make money. And as we sit here and broadcast this show, we also want people to be involved in our conversation. So I published a book in January. The best comment every day gets a copy of this book. I'm going to mail it to you at no cost to you. If you have any comments, questions, you're just getting started, you're an experienced investor, we'd love to hear from you. So Judah, what are we talking about today?
So last week we talked about the 10 things not to do your first 30 days as a real estate investor. 10 things to avoid doing. The reason I say your first 30 days is because typically right around 30 days to 6 months to a year, hopefully you've figured out that none of these things are things you should be doing. We covered that last week, but there are very common big mistakes made by people your first 30 days. This week, we're going to talk about the top 10 things you should do your first 30 days as a real estate investor. And the reason we do this is a lot of coaches and mentors and things like that, they've got lists that are all over the place. So as an active real estate investor myself, as somebody who runs a property management company, as someone who used to run a hard money company, isn't it funny, Josh? I just realized this. You're in the hard money business and used to be in the property management business. I'm in the property management business and used to be in the hard money business. So, and this is the same for you. We've taken a lot of action ourselves. We have a lot of friends and colleagues, and we also have a whole lot of clients to this as well. So this is my good friend, Andrea Keith. Yeah, she is a rock star realtor. Anyway, so yeah, I think that these are the 10 things that will actually make meaningful difference if you really do them your first 30 days in real estate investing. So let's try and get through 2 or 3 of these today at least.
That's right. All right. So I'm clicking the wrong button here, man. There we go. Every time we come in here on Monday, my head's still in Friday, or maybe it's in Sunday mode. I got to get myself focused. Andrea, thanks for joining us here today. All right. So top 10 things, the top 10 tasks for your first 30 days. Number 1, we buy houses signs and for rent signs.
Absolutely. You want to begin your networking as quick and as aggressively as possible. You want to find out who else is in your space. You want to make friends with other real estate investors. You want to. You're going to find out people who are old, grizzled, seasoned investors. You want to find out people who are wholesalers and get on their lists. If you call a We Buy Houses sign and you can tell that it's a wholesaler, you want to get on their list because you're a real estate investor. You also just want to say, hey, what's going on? What's happening? What are you doing? I first started doing this. I did not do this when as early as I should have in my career, but I did it pretty early. And around 2005, 2006, I started hearing investors saying, when I would say, hey, Josh, appreciate you taking my call. I see your sign here. Josh buys houses. Where are you buying, Josh? where are you selling? Are you looking to mostly buy and hold, or are you looking to flip, or are you a wholesaler? What do you do? Where do you like to buy, Josh? Where don't you like to buy? Now, obviously, in between each of these questions, I would pause and allow them to answer. But what I started hearing was more and more investors who had experience say, I'm not holding anything right now.
Right.
I am selling everything I have. There's a correction coming. And I didn't see it coming, but as early as 2006, I was hearing a lot of people talking about a correction that was coming. And so it was a very good information to have as a real estate investor.
Yep.
Just forming contacts with other people. Oh, you buy and hold. Now, Josh, do you manage them yourself, or do you have an employee who manages them, or do you have a property manager that you use? Oh, you use a property manager. What property manager do you like to use? Have they always been your property manager, or did you fire a different property manager? Oh, what led you to fire that other property manager? Just ask 1,000 questions of anybody you can get on the line, because this is an actual person actually doing deals, actually in your market. It is way better than blogs. It is way better than information that you are going to be able to get on Bigger Pockets and stuff like that. And I like Bigger Pockets. The other thing, hold on, let me make this point quickly too. I called these people, and I found people who said, well, yeah, look, I'm looking to buy anything on the west side of town that's 3 bedrooms and $100,000. Well, as I was doing my marketing, these were people that then I wholesaled to.
Yeah.
And I probably would have made $20,000 or $30,000 if I did the deal myself, but I was able to make like 3 to 5 by just making a quick wholesale deal on it. And it boosted my confidence just by calling We Buy Houses signs and For Rent signs. I have another point on this then, but I'll let you interject.
I want to tell a little story on this. So one of the first investment properties that I bought, it was myself and 2 partners. We bought this thing, and it was in an up and coming neighborhood in Philadelphia. And we thought, hey, look, we bought a house in this area. We had made a little bit of money on some other things. And so we sent out a mailer to the entire neighborhood, just like introducing ourselves. Hey, we just bought this property. We're renovating it. And we thought it would be a kind of a good foot in the door. I wish I would have just called all the We Buy Houses signs, but it would have been a lot cheaper. But the point was, I got a contact off of that mailer. It was a guy that just called me up. And he's like, hey, how you doing? Well, he ended up becoming like a mentor of mine for that neighborhood. He had started the development in that that little pocket. He bought when everything was falling down, renovated a place, moved his family into the house, and then started buying up all in the area. And he was the impetus for development. I got so much knowledge, not just about the area, but how the mechanics of investing worked. And
also, who's your friend at Codes? Who isn't your friend at Codes?
Right.
Also, hey, do you really get in trouble for parking here when in front of the fire hydrant or half blocking the yellow zone on a Saturday, or do they kind of let you go on that? Hey, if I have to get a dumpster out here, do I do it this way or that way? What does the city care about? What doesn't the city care about? That is some of your best, because here's the thing, when it comes to all of those questions, if you read in blogs, they'll say, hey, you might get in trouble, you might not, you just kind of got to know your local market. Well, how you know your local market is get fined once or twice, or ask somebody else who's been fined once or twice. And I bet that guy was not just a great source of information for the real estate information that would travel from area to area, but how to do business in that subsection of Philadelphia, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, and what was amazing is that we ended up wholesaling 2 deals. I ended up wholesaling 2 deals that were his generational. He generated the lead on it, was going to buy it, and then kind of got a little cold feet. I ended up making about $15,000 on one of them, and then another $10,000 on another one that I just got because he was a friend of mine. Right. And that goes way beyond the few $100s in mailings that I sent out just for the introduction, and I could have gotten by just calling the signs on the block. So it's a really big deal knowing people that are investing in a very specific area. I mean, that's one of the things that I think people overlook is the number of transactions that are done with investors in their local backyard, that they think, oh yeah, nobody's doing deals here. It's too consistent of a neighborhood, or it's too nice of a neighborhood, or it's too junky of a neighborhood. I mean, people are investing all over the place and you don't even realize it. It's
right. Ron LeGrand always tells the joke that, real estate works every place except for where you are. That won't work around here. Right. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Here's the other thing that I want to say is when you talk about real estate investing, the first thing you need to do is find motivated sellers, right? That's kind of the holy grail that everyone talks about, motivated sellers.
That's
well,
right.
Guess what? Motivated sellers sometimes actually advertise themselves to you. It's just that they don't call themselves motivated sellers. They call themselves vacancies for rent.
That's
so
right.
I call for rent signs and I say, hey, Josh, I see you have a vacancy here. My name's Judah. I'm a fellow investor. Tell me more about your situation. Tell me more about what you have going on. Tell me more about the property. And what I try to do is set that conversation up to say, hey, Josh, so what are you getting in rent? $900 a month. Hey, so, okay. How long have you owned the property? Now, here's a little funny story, funny little tidbit. The average landlord is a landlord for 3 years. They get sick of it or go broke in 3 years and quit. So if I call Josh and say, hey, Josh, how long have you owned that property? And he says 2 years, 11 months, and 15 days.
Go see him.
I'm very excited. So I say, hey, Josh, okay, so in the 3 years that you owned the property, how many months has it been vacant? I make a little note. You say 5, you say 6, you say 2, you say 1. I say, Josh, in the past 3 years, how much money have you had to put into maintenance and upkeep? Whatever you say, you know what I mean? And I mark that down. I do some quick calculations and I say, hey, Josh, so you're not really getting $900 a month. You're actually getting $776.
That's right.
Tell you what, I've got a rental guarantee program. You can look me up. You can Google me, or I'll write you 24 post-dated checks. And I will pay you $800 a month guaranteed, because that's actually $25 more a month than you're getting right now, with the option to buy the property. And I'll even agree to pay a relatively good price for it, Josh. If you were going to sell the property to me without real estate commissions or anything like that, what would you sell the property to me for? Let's say it's a $100,000 house. Usually you can get a 5 to 10% discount. Not a 30 or 40 or 50% discount, like if I wanted to pay all cash and settle quickly, but usually you can pick up a little bit of a discount. That's all I'm looking for. A little bit of monthly spread below the rent, and a little bit, because what I do then is I turn that into a rent to own situation where I say, Josh, not only are you going to have the rent every month, but I'm going to guarantee that that as long as the repairs are under $5,000, I'm going to get those taken care of on my end. Josh, if something major goes wrong, like the furnace goes out or the roof stops leaking, or starts leaking, hopefully the roof doesn't stop leaking. The roof starts leaking, I'm going to need to get you involved for that, obviously. But as long as the repair items are under $5,000 a piece, I'll take care of them. And that's how you get a rent-to-own situation set up. Then all you do is run an ad that says no bank qualifying rent-to-own, and I rent it to somebody for $900 a month or $950 a month, and I sell it to them. I give them the option to buy it for 100 or 105, 110. And it's that spread that I create. But guess what? I have nothing but a little bit of time and a little bit of money invested. Whatever money I spent on hanging up my signs or mailing my postcards or just calling for rent signs to get that whole thing started. It's not like I put down a down payment. It's not like I went to the bank and had to apply for a mortgage and paid for an appraisal and did all these other things. So this is how you build out a rental portfolio with very little money tied up yourself. And you do it by calling for rent signs and bandit signs. Sorry. I'm so passionate about this. I could talk for 3 hours on this topic, but hopefully that gives everybody, I feel that our listeners are smart enough. There's a lot more to that, but they can fill in the gaps themselves.
Hey, Judah, how about adding on to that, vacation rentals?
Yeah.
VRBO. I mean, I'm here on Palmyra, and it's very funny that you said this because I just did that last week, and I'm meeting with the owner of a property right around the corner from my house later on this week to talk to him about just the same situation. And the funny thing is that $900 a month rental, It rents for about $150 a month on Airbnb or
$150 a night, you mean?
yeah. Thanks. $150 a night. And let's say, so I had a client a couple years ago. Her whole business model was the VRBO, the Airbnb type rental, short-term rentals. And what she would do is she would go to developers that were developing, new construction condo type buildings or high-end apartments. She'd rent out an entire floor of the building before they could finish, like before they could actually rent the thing out. She'd go and they'd have one floor done, but it allowed them to get some income while they were waiting for the next phase of their construction financing, negotiated at a price, and then she based it on 70% occupancy. Her occupancy was actually closer to 98%. And then she'd make the arbitrage. So she's paying $1,200 or $1,500 a month for these units, and she's getting $2,500, $4,000, $6,000 a month on the same units. Now, look, we just went through a period that it shows how volatile that industry can be. But take COVID out of the equation, and all of a sudden, you got a really nice business model.
Yeah, developers and other people like that love that because it's cars in the parking lot. It's foot traffic. It looks alive. It doesn't look dead. It doesn't look like it's under construction still. It's lively and there's stuff going on. The only caveat to all this that I would say is whenever I talk to another investor, I let them know that I use a homeowner and training program, that I'm going to sell it based on a rent to own situation, that I'm essentially going to be renting the property out, but also guaranteeing everything, and that I make my money when they buy, and that I make my money off of the mortgage because I'm going to, either do the mortgage myself or get them hooked up with my local mortgage guy who can get them qualified, whereas most other people couldn't. A lot of people just got hurt in the bubble that burst, the short-term bubble that happened with Airbnb, because they weren't telling people what was actually going on and what was actually happening, that they were Airbnb those properties. So disclose, transparency, have an open, honest conversation. If you're just getting started, you might need to have 5 or 10 times the number of conversations that an experienced person would, or somebody with a track record would, but don't let that dissuade you from actually taking action. All right. I think we'll beat this one about as much as we can.
All right. Number 2, things that you should do as a new real estate investor in the first 30 days. Plug into your local
real estate community. I got to tell you, I can't tell you, I won't mention names, though I really want to. There are certain $10, $15, $50,000 coaching courses out there, and they come to my club all the time. I run a real estate investor club in Harrisburg. I started the one in Lancaster. I started the one in New York. I've since turned those over to other people. I run the one in Chester County. All of those clubs, people show up all the time, and they say, I just graduated from blah bitty blah's $50,000 boot camp. I learned a lot out of it, but really it seemed the biggest thing was plug into my local real estate investor club.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So there's a couple aspects here. Number 1, if you are thinking that you want to fix and flip properties, the very best place to find contractors are the same place that other people in the industry are finding contractors. Why would you go to, I'll give you a perfect example. This is another family story. Someone in my family was replacing their air conditioning unit in their house. Okay. Now they had 2 quotes. One was for $8,800 and the other one was for $10,800 for essentially the same product. And I said to them, look, I know what an AC unit costs in the houses that I've flipped, and it is significantly less than what we're talking about. So I said, look, I'm not necessarily plugged into the Central PA community at this point. I'm not flipping actively in Central PA. I said, let's go and check out this website. We go on Facebook. We called a couple people on the list. They came out, and for $4,000, this person had an AC unit for the exact same unit.
Price.
Yeah. And you know what? I think I haven't followed up a month since it was installed, but for $4,000, you can put up with a lot of headaches. And you know what? Yeah.
when you're just getting started, the networking is your job. It's kind of like when you're out of work, finding a job is your job. When you're getting started as a real estate investor or a realtor, networking is your most critical, important thing. A good friend of mine is a realtor here in the area, Christina Dio, Lancaster homegirl. And a lot of people ask her, how do you get started? What do you do? And she says, networking has got to be your job. There was a time, Josh, in my career when every Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night, every Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night, I was at a different networking event. I had my month planned. I knew where I was going to be from 7 until 9 o'clock on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Some of them were real estate investor clubs. Some of them were entrepreneur clubs. Some of them, they were just getting around people. And people to this day, they still say, how does Judah Hoover know so many people, and how did he develop that? It's because for 10 years I made it my business to know anybody and everybody. And there's great groups out there. You just have to plug into them and make as many friends as possible. There's no shortage of it.
Well, and you know what? I'm not necessarily the most outgoing individual. Like, it's easy for me to talk to a group of people that I don't know. I have no problem standing up in a room of 1,000 people and talking. It's much more difficult for me to have a close, substantial conversation with people one-on-one. Now, that's not to say that I don't do it, but after being stuck in my house for 3 months, I can't wait till we start getting these RIA groups back together, because I mean, it's the social interaction, man. I can't wait to get back out there.
But here's also how you network. So a lot of people don't like bragging on themselves. A lot of people are too self-conscious to brag on yourself. Great. Yeah. Ask everybody. Hey, Josh, I just have a question for you. What does your ideal client look like?
Yeah.
You make it your job to find people for Josh. Right. And then when I'm talking to Josh, he's going to say, something that's going to be like, oh my goodness, you need to meet Tom. Because it sounds like you have a CRM problem or need a good CRM software. I was just talking to Tom, who sells CRM. It might be worth it for you just to have a conversation with him, just to see what you think. And so everybody is as a client for somebody else. And if you're always networking those people, they're like, well, how do you know Judah? And what does Judah do? Oh, Judah's one of the greatest realtors in Lancaster County, and he knows everybody. Yeah. So here's the other thing. So ask everyone, what does the ideal client look like for you? And they should say back to you somewhere in 3 to 5 minutes. The conversation needs to organically get back to, by the way, Judah, what does the ideal client look like for you? If they don't ask you that, they're probably not conscious enough to actually be a good referral source.
Right. But that doesn't mean that they're not a good person to know. Like, there are plenty of
just don't expect a lot back from them.
Yeah, you and I, though, are a great example. Some of the best friends that I have, I made in real estate investing. I mean, like, you meet them, you get to know them in the context of business, and you have like interests. You've got very similar interests, very similar background a lot of times, and like they end up being really great friends. So networking, very important. Learn, network, and it's a really great place to learn your local market. That is a huge problem, is that people, you look at real estate numbers. We're talking Friday. Now the average or the median home price across the nation is $330. That doesn't mean that's the median home price in your market. And in fact, Lancaster County is a big county. You go from town to town, you go from submarket to submarket inside Lancaster City, and the median home price is going to change drastically. So you got to know your local market. All right. So let's jump in and let's see if we can get one more in here today. All right.
I don't think we can, but I mean, all right, here's the deal. Pick a strategy and execute.
Right.
This does not mean don't do all types of deals. I've always done all types of deals, but at a certain point, just like we talked about before, education is just entertainment.
Yep.
So decide, I'm going to be a buy and hold guy. That's what I'm going to go after. I'm going to put up bandit signs. That's what I'm going to do. Or I'm going to, do flyers on neighborhoods or whatever. So start with the marketing budget, pick a way that you're going to market, pick a type of deal that you're going to go after, and just begin executing. Doesn't mean you're married to it. Doesn't mean you can't change change your path down the road, but just pick something to focus on and then actually take action.
Yeah.
Crappy action is better than not taking perfect action.
And I said this last week that for me, it takes 3 tries to get it right. But if I don't take the first try, I'll never get to number 3. Right? So you got it. I mean, just pick one. You want to buy and hold? Great. Start there. And then you realize, hey, I don't have enough capital to deal with that. Or, I need a better credit score. And then so you say, okay, I'm going to go to fix and flip and I'm going to get a partner. And now you learn about getting partners and how to work that out. And you say, you know what, construction, I'm not real strong on. All right, maybe I just want to wholesale. Or maybe I want to buy stuff subject to, or do a sandwich lease option, or there's a million different strategies in real estate. But unless you start with one and pursue that end, you're never going to get to the next step. You're never getting anything done. You'll find yourself deep in a book for the rest of your life.
Right. I did not want to be a wholesaler. I wanted to do subject to and rent to own. And I was going to get there by hanging bandit signs and putting up flyers. But guess what? I also did some postcards every once in a while. Guess what? I also networked my way into some deals. Guess what? I also flipped a couple properties every once in a while. Guess what? I also wholesaled a couple properties every once in a while. But by focusing on what I wanted to do, it allowed me to not, there's a wholesaling seminar next week in Philadelphia. Great. I'm not doing that. That's not what I'm doing right now. That's not my focus. Yeah. My focus is this. So I want to read books about this. I want to talk to people about this. I want to focus on taking this action. If other stuff happens, that's okay. But this is going to be what my focus is. So I think that's good. Hey, can I just quick tell this funny story because I think it's great. So I used to be in the mortgage world and the hard money business, and I was networked out the yin yang. I had a guy call me. I'm actually still good friends with him. His name's Ryan Mellinger. He was a recent college graduate and a tennis pro. And he said, hey, I have a question, Judah. I asked my high school roommate, or my high school best friend. I'm a local boy. I graduated high school here locally. I asked him who I should use to get a mortgage done. Yeah. He said Judah Hoover. I called my best friend from college and my college roommate who now does business in Florida. He's a mortgage broker in Florida, and he didn't know that we referred business back and forth to each other because you have to be licensed in that state. So whenever I had anything in Florida, I sent it to him. But whenever he had anything, he said, call Judah Hoover. I called. Now, this is a young guy, but he was actually knew the president of his local bank, Patty Husick. It's now Centric Bank. At the time, it was Vartan Bank. And they were a wholesale distribution arm for us on the residential side or on the commercial side. So I called my high school best friend, my college roommate, and my family is well connected. The president of our local bank. All 3 of these people said, call Judah Hoover to get a mortgage done. Who are you? And that's so awesome when you have multiple people sending people to you for referrals. Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And you know what? At the end of the day, that only happens when you're helping people and creating value for them. And if you can do that, it's an excellent situation. Yeah, I look to help. Look, there's 3 ways I can profit off of somebody. I can either be their realtor, I can be their property manager, or I can sometimes get a referral on hard money and lining them up with private money and other things like that. Those are the 3 main ways that I profit off of the real estate business. Sure. I profit about 20 to 30% of the time that I help somebody. That's it. I don't try to profit 50%. I don't say, well, you know what? I should find some contractors to send some people to and make some overrides on that. Or I should find some, blah, 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 blah. Or I should, be charging a fee or whatever else. I don't try to profit more. I just try to help more people. How
Right.
I increase my income isn't by raising my fees or expanding my product or service line. It's just by helping more people. And the more people I help, the more people I get to help. It just is exponential.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Sorry, I love talking about networking, and I love talking about helping people. That's why we were long today. We will cover more than 3 points tomorrow, and
That's
our
right.
show will end on time.
If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like and share the video. We'll be back here at noon tomorrow for day 2 of the top 10 tasks you should do as your first month in the business. All right. Thanks, guys. See you, Jude. I'll see you tomorrow.
Everybody.
All right, guys.